friends, welcome back to my channel, Planty Princess 92. My name is Ashley. Today I am going to be propagating a climbing philodendron. So I have with me my Philodendron Paraiso Verde, and the reason I am propagating this plant is because, as you can see, she has very striking variegation, but the latest leaf that has come in is starting to lose that variegation. There are a few speckled spots like along the edges, and there is a tiny spot somewhere along this leaf where you can kind of see a tiny bit of variegation right here. I see it. So it's right here, and then a little bit along the edging where you can kind of still see the variegation coming in, but it really is, as you see the rest of the leaves, it is nothing compared to, you know, the way the rest of this beautiful foliage looks. So I'm going to be propagating this philodendron because I want to try to nip this in the butt before the entire plant reverts back to just being fully green. As I mentioned, the variegation is really so beautiful, and when you cut off the leaves that are reverting, that tends to get the plant to push out some more of those variegated leaves. So although that last leaf is on its way to reverting, I'm not going to just cut the leaf and throw it away. I am going to propagate this plant and make another plant out of it. It is also pushing out another new leaf right here. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe we'll be able to get that leaf to come in a little more variegated. So either way, we'll see. We'll get right into the video. I am going to be growing this one in leca as well. So I have my leca balls, I have my mesh pot with my tray, I have my shears, and I'm going to just spray my shears with alcohol. That way they're sterile. That really helps stop the spread of any diseases that a prior plant may have. So it's an important step, but it's not vital to a plant's health. Only if you have a plant that you know is diseased, then it definitely is a must, but it's just kind of like a preventative step to prevent if you do have a plant that you don't know is diseased. So we'll go right ahead and cut this plant where I want to make the cut at. Now, with climbing philodendrons, just like any other aroid, you need to cut where you have a node. The most successful way to propagate an aroid is to have an open node where there is no leaf. But sometimes you do get lucky, and even with a leaf there, it is able to still push out those roots, especially if there's already a spot where it either A, has aerial roots already formed, or B, has a location where it's starting to push out those aerial roots. That definitely helps the success rate of the propagation without having to remove one of those bottom leaves. So I don't want to cut too much off this plant. I am going to make the cut right here. That gives me 2 leaves and the third that is coming in here. It also gives me a node right here at the bottom where there is a little aerial root already coming in there. So that will definitely make it easier to propagate. And then along with that, there is another little aerial root at the top there, and I will submerge all the way up until that point. So let's go ahead and make that cut. And I'm going to do it as close to this bottom leaf as I can. And also, let me also just point this out really quick. Where I am making the cut, there is a spot right here where it looks like another branch will come out of. So I'm going to make sure when I make that cut, I don't cut that along with it, because that will just promote the growth, the new growing point quicker than if I would cut that off. Then it would have to push out a growing point from another space. And since that's already there, I think that would definitely be beneficial to make the cut appropriately and leave that there. So without cutting that off and cutting as close to the leaf as I can, I'm going to make my cut right here. So this is what I have left. It is still a really nice and full plant, and I am going to be providing this a moss pole at some point. So I will make a video on providing this with the moss pole. I love the way philodendrons smell when you cut them. They have this like really unique smell to them, and they all have that same scent. It smells so good. It's like fresh. It's like fresh celery, but fresh philodendron. Anyways, so I have that cut made. I'm going to be providing this a moss pole at some point, and that's that. So this one is all done. I'm gonna let this one go back to her home where she belongs. I'm just gonna let her rest. I'm not going to cut her any further, repot her, do any of that other stuff, because it's very important not to stress the plant out by doing too much of that stuff at one time. So she's good to go, and now this is the cutting that I have that I'm going to pot up today. Now the first leaf is very nicely variegated. It's a newer leaf, so it's not quite hunted off, so that's why it's so subtle. It's not as subtle in person, but it does look kind of subtle over camera because it's still kind of fresh. This plant has actually been growing quite nicely for me because the leaves are just spitting out left and right, as you see here, and there's like another one on the way. I'm debating if I want to remove the sheath or not, just because it will be submerged right to here, and the bottom of the sheath will be underwater. Oh no, I'm thinking I'm sticking this in water. No, I'm putting it in leca. So although this will be in leca, it actually won't be in the water, so the sheath will be fine there, which is good because it does protect the leaf until it's ready to unfurl. So I was really up in the air about what to do about the sheath, but I didn't want it to rot. So we will not have that problem. Now all we have to do is stick this in. Now I'm definitely going to make sure the 2 points that I mentioned with the aerial roots are submerged in water. So since the one is below, I just have to make sure this point right here is submerged into the leca. And then I have a shallow tray, but it allows me to fill the water to about here, which would be perfect for this propagation and for the plant as it continues to grow in leca. She is so cute already. I am like super excited. Even if this does revert, I really think it's just still going to be a gorgeous plant. I love philodendrons. I love climbing philodendrons. I love aeroids, period, any plant, period. But I mean, this just, the leaf shape, how long and beautiful this plant gets. I just think it's gonna make a great plant either way. But let's cross our fingers and hope this little lady doesn't revert back. But either way, that's why I propagated, so my mother plant stays nice and variegated, because this is one of my favorite plants. So I always propagate and grow all my plants with newt and liquid dirt water. And with the propagations, I do add in a little bit of Super Thrive, because that is a plant vitamin that helps with the transition of repotting, propagating, shipping stress. So that is a good thing to give your plants, to feed your plants when acclimating them to any type of new or stressful situation. It really does boost them and help them out a lot. So that is everything I'm going to do to this Philodendron Paraiso Verde cutting. I will be keeping this in bright indirect light. And I won't be giving her any additional nutrients, like semi-hydroponic nutrients, until she roots. I think that does more harm than good before she has roots. Now, of course, I'm not a horticulturist or an expert by any means. That is just my experience and my opinion while propagating in LECA. So thank you guys again for watching. I hope I provided some great tips and you enjoyed seeing how I propagated this beautiful climbing philodendron. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're interested in the content I provide. And as always, every plant's a princess. Bye!